Welcome to Bigfoot
and the Bunny.
This is a couple's journey into the mysterious,
the unknown, and the paranormal.
I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm your host, Kristen Johnson.
Together we are Bigfoot and the Bunny.
What's up, folks? Happy Saturday. I'm Chris Carr.
And I am Kristen Johnson.
I hope you're having a great and safe weekend.
Yes.
We have a great show planned tonight.
We do.
Already see some of you folks out there.
Hi, Carol.
What's going on? Anne Young.
Hi, Anne.
Hello, beautiful people.
You are beautiful.
Carol Garcia. Good evening, everyone. Well, we have some folks on tonight that I know you guys know. So without a whole lot of fuss and introduction, I think we'll bring them on and we're going to talk a little bit about near-death experience. We're going to talk about spirits.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about stuff we love to talk about.
As usual.
Let's bring them right on. Our first guest is Linda Judd. Hello, Linda.
Hi.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Oh, gotta get my little... Okay, I'm in my studio now.
Hey, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Hey, George. What's going on?
Hi, George.
Our next guest, like you're on a game show. Our next contestant is Mr. Joshua Dickson. How you doing?
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Great to see you. It's great to see you.
Yes.
You too. You both.
Great. Douglas Young. Hello, peoples.
Hi,
Barbara
Doug.
Woodbury Spear. Hello, Chris and Kristen. And I'm sure, Barbara, you know these folks from Psychic United, which we'll talk about. And we have a surprise mystery guest for tonight as well.
Yes, we do.
And that is Angela Boley. Hello, Angela.
Hi, Angela. Thank
How are you
so much.
doing?
Wonderful. Hi, Barbara.
And there's Ken Allen from the Wizard's Table podcast. We love Ken.
Bigfoot and the Bunny.
I think you guys do too. I've seen you guys.
We have to sing it.
Great show. Awesome podcast. How you doing, Ken? What's going on? Oh, look at all these folks. They're just popping up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hi, Chloe.
This awesome lineup.
That's
Look
funny.
at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Barbara's is excited.
Everybody.
Wow.
Right?
Awesome.
This was
Full
like
crew tonight.
We should have all of them on the show. We can.
a huge panel. I'm telling you, I've been talking about this with Chris. I'm like, can you imagine we could have like everybody on? It's like appreciation, and have like everybody
Absolutely.
that listens.
Absolutely. Because you guys love what we talk about, and the platform is really for everyone. It's not really for us. So we love this.
Yes.
I know some of you have had near-death experiences, and I think that's one of the topics we're going to get into, which was brought to light by Raymond Moody back in 1975 in his book Life After Life. I think was the first book that really got into the idea of a near-death experience. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a good place to start would be to talk about what's happened to you, what your experiences were.
Joshua.
We'll start with Joshua.
Yes, please.
Oh, with me?
Yeah.
I've had a lot of near-death experiences. The worst being in 2019, 2 years after my brother died. I was in a terrible car accident. I broke my back. I broke my sternum. They thought I was dead. I actually kind of was dead because I was floating above the vehicle. And I just remember my brother, who died like a year and a half prior, kind of like saying no, like pushing me back. It was surreal. It was just so strange. But in that moment of interim, I really felt like I was dead. It was crazy.
Anything to you while you were being pushed back?
I physically could feel my brother. I could physically see him above me. pushing me back, like, no, you're not leaving. It's not your time yet. Mom can't handle another loss. It was crazy. One of the earliest experiences I had too was in my mom's car. I fell out of the station wagon. We were taking my grandpa to the train station,
Mhm.
and I literally fell out of the car. Like, I opened the door. Me and my sister were playing games, and we were like opening the door as the car, was driving. Like, my mother was driving. My grandfather's in the front seat. Me and my sister are in the back seat. Me and Janine. But we knew that the buttons were down. We were just being kids, being dumb. Well, my button was up and I fell out.
Oh,
Wow.
were you hurt?
But I'm sorry.
Were you
Oh
hurt?
yes, I was very hurt. Yeah, I was pretty bruised up. And another car was coming for me. I mean, this is Crestwood, New York, and it's by the train station, so there's a lot of traffic.
Right.
And my grandfather, he jumped out of the car to stop the other car from running me over after I fell out. That wasn't so much near. I mean, it was near death to me at the time, especially being so young. But it was scary. It was like really, really scary. But for me, 2019 was the absolute epitome of, I know that there is something more to this life than just, I mean, and I respect people that believe, like an ant, like once you're dead, you're squished, it's over. Like, some people believe that. I know that there's more, because of my experience, specifically in 2019.
Unbelievable. So 2019 was a real kind of awakening for you.
It really was, in a lot of ways. It really was. It was, I've also had encounters, with a lot of the dead, not always necessarily near death experience, but just,
I'm online.
I don't know. Like,
When you say you had encounters with the dead, I know Linda's working on something back
Yes.
there. What do you mean by that? Like, how did you know you were talking to the deceased? Was that like?
how did I know I was having encounters with the death? Well, I knew that they were dead. I knew that they were dead, and they were family members, and but I knew that they were there. If that makes sense.
No,
don't
that
know.
makes sense.
And for me, 2019 really, 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 really awoken me to the fact that, oh my God, there's something more to this. And somebody wants to keep me around, because I've had several other experiences where I came close to death. I almost OD'd on Valium as a child by accident. I fell out of a tree. I came so close to breaking my neck that I would have been a quadriplegic for life. The doctor told me, the doctor told my mother, you have no idea how lucky you should be that, I'm sorry if I'm echoing,
You're fine.
that your son did not become not a paraplegic, quadriplegic. So that was another one. I've had quite a few encounters, and that was another one in the backyard when I fell out of the tree.
No,
It was in the backyard.
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's
No,
all right.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Describe the experience. That's fine. Sorry.
It was. I literally was lifted from my body. Like, it was like, as opposed to being pushed down in 2018 with my brother Shane. I can't remember the year, but this was in the 80s when I fell out of the tree. And I was in the backyard. There was nobody there. My mother was at work. The kids were in front of the house playing and stuff. But I was in the back by myself, just being Josh, and climbing a tree. And I, was hanging from the tree like a monkey or something. And I literally fell 20 feet on my back.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can totally see this happening. I know back in the 80s, and I don't even know people.
I mean, we were crazy,
Yeah, we all climbed trees. I remember being in the woods and like climbing trees and jumping from one tree to another.
Yeah.
Or Rambo, and just run and
Rainbow in the dark.
just rocket and just jump to the next tree. And like, I easily could have died at any point doing this stuff. But
I
I almost did.
right? It was
can't
like
believe
really lucky I survived that one.
times, but you actually fell. Did you land on your back?
Yes, yeah, 20 feet, like 15, 20 feet, literally. Just the branch gave way, and I literally just fell flat on my back. Like, I think of the opposite of levitation. Just levitate and then just drop 15, 20 feet. I mean,
Levitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did you break anything or sprain or do you know? Fracture? Back in those days in the 80s, it'd have been like walk it off, So
we were wicked bad. We were wicked crazy,
Yeah. That's what I say
But
too.
I tell you, when I fell and I hit the ground at that time, I literally could not move, and my wind was so knocked out of me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. It took me. There must have been a guardian angel or something. I mean this. I'm not very religious, but I literally, it took everything I had just to crawl out to the front of the house to get the kids' attention that I was in serious trouble. And our next door neighbor, Gene Justino's father, he ended up rushing me, to Bronxville, Lawrence Hospital, and they told my mother, he would have survived it, but he would have been, paralyzed from the neck down. I told my mother, I said, you know what? I would have rather have died. I'm not putting anybody down that's paraplegic, quadriplegic, but I don't think I could have handled that, And I've gone through so many other instances since then that I'm just very, very grateful that I'm here. I never thought I was going to make it past 25.
Right. I know life like at 30 just seemed so far away.
Back then we thought we were resilient and
indestructible.
Indestructible.
If it ends at 30, then the hell with it. I don't know if that was a popular attitude, but it was certainly ours.
I like that.
But my gosh, that's tremendous that you went through that. Carol said that she climbed a tree with ice skates on.
Was it ice skates or roller skates? She said skates.
We didn't have internet, right? So we had. What did you do? Right, your parents kicked you out. You played outside.
Get out.
Did these things.
Get some calcium.
Exactly.
So when you had that experience, did anything happen to you that made you feel like you had maybe crossed that line, that veil between life and death?
Well, I know for me, I felt it because my father was there. My father died. You have to realize he died on my first birthday. I'm 51. He died on my birthday, on my first birthday.
Oh,
it's okay. It's so long ago, but he was there, and he was my protector. I just knew what I could feel like. I never knew my father, obviously, being one. But I could see him. He was talking to me, and it's so hard to explain near-death experience. But when you go through it, you just know you do. At least to me, it really, really felt like a near-death experience in several different instances. And I think a lot of the times my father was my protector because he died so young, and I was so young. And I'd gone through so many of these experiences, but he was always the one that I feel, not that I feel, I want to take that back. He was the one that was always there when I was in that veil of this life and the afterlife. I'm not sure if it makes sense or not.
Oh, it totally makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
You're in that liminal space, that in between. Sometimes we refer to ghosts, specters, things of that nature as that, being liminal in that in between space. And
yes.
There seems to be something that's just in between. It's so close yet you can't touch it.
Yes.
Yes.
Just
absolutely.
Linda,
that was my experience.
Would you like to tell us about your near-death experience?
Well, I can't say that I've had one. But I
Sorry.
can say that the one thing that's been remarkable to me is that all the men in my life who are majorly important, like my dad, my boyfriends, my husbands, those guys, they all had jobs at funeral homes. And I've had
Oh
dreams of
wow.
Egypt, and I've had, and in the last few years, I've been helping spirits cross over, and I've had mediums help me help the spirits. I mean, I'll be talking to like Angela, and she'll say, "Oh, I see somebody at your house," and then we get to talking to them and find they need crossing over. And there have been I've seen 2 ghosts here at the place in the apartment complex for independent seniors, just out of the blue. And I just felt compelled to turn and watch a ghost just walk right in front of me to the bushes out in the parking lot. And it was like, he stopped and then he turned and looked at me. And
I remember you telling me that.
He saw me and I saw him, and we were just cool with it. And the second ghost I saw now that guy was like an apparition. You could see through him, but he still had enough light that I could see the details in his face, his afro, his clothing, his arms, his legs, his feet. And then the second ghost that I saw a year later was a neighbor. Her mom had passed a few months before, but she was a column of white and elevated off the ground. And she was moving towards my friend's house. And I was watching her. And then she stopped moving. And I got the impression that she was like looking at me, but, a round column of light, how you can tell if it's moving,
Right.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Do you notice a difference, I should say, other than the column of light? Like, was one a residual type haunting and one an active, or anything like that?
I believe that the white light one was that the lady had gone to heaven and done her, review and came back with all her powers back with her. And she was visiting her daughter who actually a year later died. And the other one was a spirit who was just he didn't know that he died. I was talking to another medium on the internet here, and I happened to describe that situation. And she says, "Oh, I see him. He's talking to me." And I'm going like, "Oh no, I can't hear him at all, and I can't talk to him directly." But so we had a conversation. It was like a three-way conversation, and he didn't really know he was dead. And he said, "Give me a few minutes, let me go say bye to my friends, and then we can do this."
Let me
so
compose myself.
So he was ready to go once he realized and he was told. And I have experienced negative energy in my life at like a house in when I was in high school. And so I know the difference between the positive energy and the negative energy. And he was as sweet as day, really was. It was a good
How do you
experience.
know? Like, is it a thing like where you just know, like it feels fearful?
You mean if it's negative or positive?
Yes.
Brings about emotions within yourself. How do you know?
You feel scared when it's negative, and sometimes I'll feel it like somebody's watching me in the back of my head. Sometimes it'll be just a gut feeling. Depends on where it hits you that tells you how you're related to it. If it's just something you're passing. Because when I was in college, I moved a lot, and I drove around neighborhoods to feel the vibes of the places that I was going to go check out. And that was my guide. That really was.
Wow.
Excellent. Well, that is a wonderful start. Angela.
Angela.
Hi.
Artist. And I know we're going to get to some of your paintings a little later in the show. But tell us like how you became acquainted with the paranormal. Did you have haunted childhood experiences? I believe that and maybe I'm wrong because I was wrong with Linda. Did you have a near-death experience?
Well, you can call it a near-death experience. I had a death experience. I died, period. It was a near-death. It was death. So, when I was 5 years old, I mistook a bottle of aspirin for a bottle of candy and consumed all the aspirin in the bottle.
Oh, wow.
And of course, that caused your blood to thin and it caused bleeding through the stomach. And I had to be rushed to the emergency room. And, my mom showed me in the car. They rushed to the emergency room. At Eastern Pool City Hospital at that time had a emergency pediatric unit. That's where I was admitted to, and it was vomiting blood. And the attending doctor and an emergency nurse, doctor said to my parents and said to the nurse that if I wasn't given blood right away, I was going to die. So the nurse ran off to check on the blood supply. And when she came back, she said, "We don't have any blood." And he told my parents that I was going to die, and I did die. I went into shock. I experienced the extreme, hot, extreme cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. So finally felt very, very cold. And I was laid down. I was laid down on a table with a blanket pulled over me. And I didn't know why he put a blanket over my face. I didn't understand that. And he told my parents, or the doctor told my parents, and he called the county coroner, and we never had a child this young die in our ER. But I had passed away at that point, and I was then experiencing going through a tunnel, but it was like it had cobwebs, and I was going through like a tunnel of cobwebs. But after that, I could see the ceiling very clearly in the emergency room, and I could see this beam of sunlight shining down through the ceiling. And I was thinking, sunlight doesn't shine through ceilings. How is this even possible? And I floated up through the beam of sunlight as I was thinking about this. I floated up through the sunlight. I could see all the other floors. I could see all the patients on all the other floors. I floated up all the way to this above the hospital where I had the roof under my feet. I kept floating higher and higher. And I see it was heading toward an extremely bright light. And I'm like, am I heading towards the sun? It's very bright. And I look around me and I see the sun. The sun looks dim and small compared to the light I'm going to. The light I'm going to is many times bigger than the sun, many times brighter. And I actually go into that light, and there was this great intelligence emitting from this light. This is the source of all creation, the source of all life, the source of all good.
I agree.
But you just knew this. Like you felt this, like
joy.
because like how would you know? Like just from perceptions,
right?
Like you had this idea that this is like, wow, this is the source of all. This is source.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very much so for me.
Little too. So wow.
Extremely much. So I just think of an instant realization. This intelligence is so much greater than any of us can comprehend. And I went into the light, and I was floating around in that light, and a voice came out of that light and said to me, "Your body is made up of these tiny structures called cells. I'm going to repair every single one of those cells, and I'm sending you right back."
Oh my goodness.
So I actually went back exactly the same way I went to the light. It was actually the reverse. I just went down out of the light, down to the sunbeam, down to the hospital roof, down through all the floors, and then I saw my body on the table. And that was jarring to me. It was very shocking to realize, oh, I'm separate from my body. And, my body is a thing I wear. It's not me.
It's
the meat suit. That's
right, exactly. It's like a car you get in and drive or something.
Yeah, exactly. It was good. Yeah.
And I floated over my body, and I lined up with my body. And then I heard, "Get up, get up." And then on the third time I heard "get up," I leaped off the table with joy. And the doctor and everybody looked shocked. I didn't understand why they looked shocked. And the doctor asked my parents' permission to re-examine me. So they re-examined me. The doctor re-examined me and says not only is she fully recovered, but she's healthier than the average child her age. And I've been dead for 30 minutes.
Oh my God. That was my question. How long? Wow.
30 minutes.
30 bloody minutes. And that's usually like 6 minutes or to 10 minutes when you're
right.
completely dead like that. Your brain.
Your brain can die.
Yeah, your brain's dead. Yes.
Exactly. Oh, that's
were you considered clinically dead,
Yes.
where they didn't measure brain function. Did you stop breathing, or did you continue to breathe?
No, I didn't continue to breathe.
Half an hour.
Remember, I had no blood in my body. There was nothing that my heart could pump. You know, I had no blood to pump through my body anymore. I had no breathing. I
That's
had
so
no
amazing.
activity, I had no pulse. Nothing.
It really is pretty
No pulse,
amazing.
respiration,
Oh,
nothing. I
Wow.
mean, the doctor called me.
Wow. And already saying, wow.
Everybody's saying,
Because-
wow, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very long time to be down. And still, yet these memories came back to you. Did they come back to you right away, or did it take some time to process?
I know I remembered, like, all my life I remembered them, but I also was dreaming about it sometimes. But as soon as I got back from the hospital into the house, I started seeing spirits right away. And you started the shadow entities that were in our house. They were coming out of the walls and up to the floors. And I had something
Can I
called
ask
peekers
Angela a
in
question?
the room, even broad daylight, or even with my light on.
Yep.
I had lots of paranormal activity at the home, day and night.
Oh, we want to dig into that. Josh has a question
Yes,
for you.
please.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to know if you think that is what gave you the gifts that you have because of that
Yes.
experience. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Because I came back, I knew something was different about my perception. It was like that spirit realm was just open to me. It's like everything had shifted. So when my cells were repaired, I didn't even think I know they were repaired, obviously, but something that source of life changed, I believe, frequency, how much that my cells resonate at. So I'm resonating the same as in the spirit realm, that vibration. So
I love that you say frequency and vibration there.
That's our thing.
So
yeah.
obviously, you like the Tesla thing, and frequency and vibration is kind of the key to the universe. And you think it is that, like, once you've experienced this kind of death state, you discover this frequency, there's something that is different than our day-to-day lives, is sort of, I don't know, a feel to things, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe you can help me. Or like, what did it feel like, and how did you know it was a different frequency?
it was like when I came home, how could I describe it? It's almost like music, like a music note or a chord of music. It's like you feel like you're on a different level.
Journey or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like you can see spirits, and it's almost if you think of your mind as a radio, basically, that can receive signals and it also produces waves, that it can now receive and process waves waves of energy that other people can't, or that normally the brain cannot process. And other frequencies. It's just like if you remember, us as kids, like in the 80s, we only had about 5 TV stations, and maybe we got UHF every once in a while. Well, it's like that. It's like people on 5 stations, and I got UHF, and I can see it.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is a great analogy. It's like they put the antenna on the roof, and
Yep.
you no longer have to rely on the rabbit.
How's it now? How's it now? Get the tinfoil. Put the tinfoil on it. You know.
Exactly.
Well, my parents divorced early, so I was mostly raised by my mom, and she didn't support the gifts at all. And in fact, she tried to squish them. And I think because of that, my brain became like the TV. I was just always going and visiting different locales. And it was just so fun. And my mom, one time, she goes, "You like to sleep more than you like to be awake." I go, "Well, yeah, she's observant."
God, we have the same mother.
So, but I like the frequency study. I picked up the research bug when I was writing in the last few years, and I have been collecting so much information on frequency, and it just dawned on me that they call it solfeggio. I learned that was a training for music in college for 2 years, and it's the do re mi, and you can tone on each of the the do, the re, the mi, the fa, etc.
Different
And
notes. Yeah.
you're tuning into your chakras at each one of those. And
Oh, that's so interesting.
the do
Yeah,
starts out.
that's true. That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
I had a VHS back in the 80s, cassette
I
tape.
still have one.
Oh my gosh, I can't think of her name. You'd all recognize it. And she drew that correlation. It was a meditation tape where it went through the chakras, and there was a note and a color associated with each chakra.
Is it Shirley MacLaine?
Shirley MacLaine. Thank you.
I love
Wow.
her book. I love
Yeah.
her book.
Yeah, Chris has heard me tell the story. Excuse
Yes.
me.
And it's
I
amazing.
can't talk. But yeah, heard that story a long time ago. And at the time I was playing in bands. They were original bands, right? And we wrote our own songs. And I was watching it with a friend that was in the band with me. And we were very into our music, of course, being in high school. We're like, this is like the best thing. and we immediately could draw correlations to the colors that she mentioned,
sound,
right?
yeah.
With the sound and the correlating note. So everything was in like a major scale, but there's a relative minor. If you're into music, you know this, right? So like what would it be? Like E major is G minor. They're the same thing. And we could immediately draw these correlations and go, oh yeah, that song does feel green or blue or whatever.
That's true.
We agreed on everything. And it was so shocking to have that revelation. You know, that's so cool, you know, that you could pick up on that frequency.
Are you talking about synchronicity right now?
Not quite. Oh, this is just stuff that was laid out.
Yeah.
But Anne-Marie Young did have a question, and I'm going to put this out to all of you. When you had these experiences, did you feel like it wasn't your time, or did somebody tell you that?
For me, it wasn't. I wasn't told anything. I was just told I'm sending you back. I wasn't given a choice or told it wasn't my time. Just I'm sending you back. Okay.
It's more command. You're going back.
For me, it was my brother. Literally, it was like telling me, "No, you are going back." It was like I physically. We used to fight all the time when we were teenagers. We shared a room. I mean, we hated each other for most of our lives, but towards the last 15 years, we became best friends. And that was him just telling me, absolutely not. And, you know, if I did lose, as far as we were talking earlier about if I had actually stopped breathing, I'm not even aware if I did or didn't. If I did, I'm sure they would have told me. But it was still that veil like we were talking about, you know. But yeah, for me, it was pretty much what Anne-Marie is asking. It was like my brother telling me, no, you're not doing this. You're not going to have mom lose another son, you know. So very much so it was telling me it was not my time in that particular situation in 2019.
Hey, Anne-Marie.
That is fantastic. Here's a question. It's a little off topic, but we'll go with this.
Yeah.
Are shadows bad energies? When I see them, I don't get that bad feeling, but other people say they are. And that comes from Carol Garcia.
It was explained to me once that the reason they're shadow people is because they're losing their light energy. They become fainter and fainter and fainter. And,
I believe that's it.
You know, and if a person is evil, when they die, they're going to be evil. I mean, geez, that part doesn't go away.
No, most definitely. In fact, it might enhance it.
Exactly.
Well,
sometimes it doesn't.
they would actively go seek to be around people that they could steal their energy from.
Yes.
And the person who is just an ordinary human being and doesn't even know he died. That's been my experience a lot, is that I've met people, ghosts, spirits seek me out, and especially the ones who die tragically. And in fact, I had a dream of a baby who was in its death state, and it was wheezing, and it rictus all over its face, and it upset me so much because I saw 3 people in the same room, and I was like yelling at them, "Why aren't you helping this baby?" And I'm like clutching this baby,
you
know? And I woke up, and I'm talking to Carl, And he says, what would be the first thing you would do? And I said, I would call 911. And they go, yeah. And he was calming me down. And you would go out to meet 911 so that the baby could get help faster. And I go, yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew I was going back into the dream after I calmed down as much as I could. And I did. And the baby was just angelic looking, peaceful, calm. And he said, I was dying. And then a little bit late, and he disappeared. He disappeared, and I woke up. But shortly after that, I realized that he had been in a death cycle. Now, Joshua, I told Joshua about this, and he gave me some information because he could tune in to the baby. And it turned out to be somebody in my family had a miscarriage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I'm going like, well, I'm so happy that I was able to help,
It's definitely, yeah.
break the cycle of the death tragedy.
Sure.
Oh, that's
That sounds
fascinating.
wonderful.
And you mentioned somebody who died tragically, and there does seem to be a lingering energy about that, right? This is a cause for, I believe, residual hauntings in some cases. I know in sorcery practices, and this doesn't have to be for anything nefarious, the objects around that tragedy, like maybe the soil, or graveyard dirt, for instance, going back to medieval days, of a person who died tragically is something you will see over and over. So we see this correlation of that energy of somebody who had this sudden death, perhaps hasn't even crossed over, right? Might be.
So that was actually, reminds me, that's actually the very first time that I encountered driving on the highway right over the red spot that they tried to, and you could tell an accident, deadly because it's so red, mostly washed out, but it's still there. And as I was driving over that spot, I got this really disorienting feeling. And I explored that a couple, 3 times, and I finally came up with, I need to say a prayer. I was really kind of naive about this whole thing. And then I did the final test. It drove over, and it was clear. The spirit had moved on.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, you just felt it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad
I
could
believe
help it that
some
way.
dark, shadow people are bad, but not all. Not all. It just depends on what, like Linda was saying, it's like a death cycle. It's like a draining, just like they just don't want to let go. But I think the closer they realize that they actually are dead, some can become more aggressive, and others actually just simply don't want to move on. They just want to hang around. But I've encountered a few dark ones, and let me tell you, it was not a lot of fun.
No, I actually grew up with them. I grew up with 2 of them. I call one a shadow person. The other one was kind of an entity. And I had one that just pushed me down the stairs, and it was really bad. They would torment me. So when you talk about shadow people, to me, with my experience, I kind of cringe because I have that traumatic thought, but I can see where you're coming from. Some maybe had a, traumatic or dramatic death, didn't know that they are dead, and, they don't want to go to the light because
Absolutely. Yeah.
they don't feel that they want to be judged depending on their religion and everything like that,
Sure. And they're in that in-between space, right? So they're in that liminal space. They don't know how to draw enough energy to be a full-bodied apparition, yet maybe they don't want to be. Maybe they're just trying to move on or don't know how to.
Or they're sucking energy out of...
I think there's a point in time, and I think Angela pointed this out to me, that they don't have enough energy to shine their light to heaven to open the way to going home. And so there have been a couple of Irene Takuda and Angela have helped me, and actually you too, I'm
That's
having a brain freeze, Joshua.
Yeah.
See, I want to call you Josh, but I still want to call you Joshua. And just pushing up. I have to lift my hands and help them move over, and it's like that's an application of the power that I have learned for healing, and it's if they don't have the energy, sometimes you just have to help them. And then on the other hand, they don't want to tell you why they're bugging you. And there's one ghost who lives on this property, died on this property. And finally, Irene saw her. And a year ago in July, she pushed me down the stairs and I broke my ankle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Then they're done
serious.
that. Yep.
And I was away from home for 3 months. And I was like,
my
oh,
goodness.
God, But anyway, so come to find out later that this ghost was still hanging around. And Irene was talking to her. And I thank God Irene was there and could talk to her. And something was said and it sparked the memory of me feeling a push on my shoulder. And the ghost said, yeah, that was me.
Wow.
So I have to say the truth.
Did you hear that clear audiently, or was it just something you knew it said?
No, you see, Irene is a medium. She's very powerful. And she could summon ghosts too. The ones that the family members that need to summon. And so she found out that the woman was looking for her baby. She had been 3 months pregnant when she got shot and killed. And so she wasn't moving on until she found her baby. Well, Irene found her baby.
Well,
And then we helped the ghost move on. This ghost that broke my ankle, I'm sitting there raising my arms to help her move on. She was willing to go.
I just want to say, thoughts, prayers, which
Yes.
intentions, however you do it, should be sent to Irene's family. I know Irene was involved with a pretty bad family situation, or her husband was hurt.
Situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but he's doing okay. She told me he's doing okay, but it's still scary. Still.
Irene's awesome. We love Irene.
Love Irene.
In fact, Irene, I'll
the
send you a
audience.
link if you're interested in joining. I don't know how you feel. I don't want no pressure, but I'll send you the link anyways. But
Can I just say something to pick up on where Linda was talking about with the dark energy and like the black mass, or somebody had asked a question about that.
Yes.
I was talking to Linda about this, and I think I might have even talked to you about it, Kristen, before, where I was physically attacked in my home. Now, Native spirit, I live on Native American burial ground. I know that. And I've never had a bad feeling whatsoever. But for whatever reason, about 10 years ago, I've been here 15 years. I'm on like an acre of property. The backyard's like an acre. I saw like an Indian spirit, but he was angry. He didn't want me here. He did not want me here.
It's their land.
I'm sorry?
It's their land.
Yeah. He did not want me here. I was out there meditating. I was doing like my witching hour thing because I used to do rituals at 3 a.m. And anywho, within the next couple of weeks, I experienced it in the house. And I could see it hiding back by the fireplace. And I got so angry with it because I'm like, you know what? I don't mean you no harm. Like, I'm not here to bother you. I'm sorry that you don't want me here, but this is where I live. Like, please, can't we? Well, he didn't want to hear that. And then I was starting to get angry with this mass, this entity, this whatever you want to call it. And I could visibly see it back by the fireplace. And I got so angry, I started yelling at it and cursing at it. And I am not usually that way. I'm not. But I did. I just was like, that's it. I want you out of here. I was like going crazy. Well, about 10 minutes later, I got pushed so violently. So violently. I had bruises all over my face. I broke almost all my ribs in my body.
Oh my God.
I was like, I'm like, I'm not messing with that guy again. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, can't we just like learn to live together?
Right, but still, they had enough energy to do that to you.
I know, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
maybe we
saying,
should
and they
ask
did.
Ken Allen what's going on up with that.
Yeah, that's what scared me, Kristen, is that if they have that much energy, that's why I was like, okay, I'm sorry, please, I will never curse at you again, but please don't do that to me again, okay?
Exactly.
It
Personal space.
was
I
scary. It was really
Do,
scary.
do you
really
think that
scary.
was? I wonder if that was related to the Ouija board kind of thing that you told me
Oh,
about.
well, that was around the time that I was dabbling in the Ouija, and I know a lot of people in the paranormal, like them, and
You
I
have to
use
learn,
dowsing rods, so I'm not. Yeah, it's a delicate art. It really, really is. And for whatever reason, I just didn't feel comfortable with it anymore, this Ouija board. And maybe I kind of conjured that. I don't know. All I know is I was having a lot of negativity happening in the house. And I had to ultimately call a shaman, and they did help, and they told me to bury the Ouija board in the backyard, which I did.
And you think that
And
that's what it was from, the Ouija board? You think that
no, I'm trying to get my timeline, but it was it was all around the same time. I think that the dark mass that was in the house, I don't think had anything to really do with the Ouija board. I was just going through some stuff with the Ouija board. I just didn't feel good with it anymore. It wasn't working for me, so I decided to bury it. The only reason I got the shaman in was because of that push, and when I really got hurt, and it was an unseen force. Nobody could have done that. Um, but the weird thing about the Ouija board was I buried it, and a couple of days later, I went in the backyard, and the freaking thing was uncovered. It was out of the hole. It was
Oh, come on.
insane. It was insane.
Come on. Like it was
what? It's like
unburied?
It's scary.
what?
Something uncovered it and took it out. I'm like, could it have been a raccoon, a cat, a dog? I'm like,
Right.
I don't know, but I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. Like 2 days later,
Even if
Oh,
it was
Yeah,
a
I
raccoon,
think the portal wasn't closed from the
even
Ouija
if it
board.
was a raccoon, it's
Apparently.
still a sign of something bringing it to your attention, right?
Right.
Even if you can find a natural cause, here's where like debunking something doesn't
Yeah.
always really work out, because like, why did it do that? Why did it pick the Ouija board? Why did it dig it up?
Yeah.
Natural causes don't even line up that well. But I
They
want
really don't. I tried to look for every possible explanation, but there just was none. There was just none.
our feeling on
Other
Ouija
than
is it's a divinatory window, I
Like
guess, or
anything.
portal, or anything else. There are so many things, and a lot
A
is put
recorder.
on Ouija boards, and I know a lot of you guys hate Ouija boards, so never use them. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with them, as they
Correct
are.
use.
Cardboard and
And you have to know what you're doing, but
Well,
not
I
everybody
agree, but for me, this
does.
board needed to go.
And the
however,
instructions don't come with it.
they are a focal point. And
Well,
what
it's
you're
written
doing
there, so
is
yeah.
trying to communicate to spirit. So I think anything that you
They're
try
not
to
a toy.
communicate with spirit is going to be that portal, right? So it could be anything. It maybe the designs on it psychologically bring you closer to that moment of being able to make that contact. Maybe they help you adjust your vibration, like unintentional.
Yes.
Hey, I think that could be a great tool. Just for this particular situation, I did not like the board. I didn't like what I was getting off this particular board. And I consulted with a couple of psychics, and they told me, if it's making you feel uncomfortable, bury it. Just bury it. And that's what I did. I took their advice, and holy moly, 2 days later, it was out of the ground. Something had dug it up. It was
Something
crazy.
that people do with haunted objects. They bury them, they burn them, they try all sorts of things to get rid of that spirit that might be nagging them.
I paint the portraits of the spirits. So I started. I'm working on a book where I'm just seeing, doing portraits of the spirits that I encountered growing up, and putting them in that book. And you can see a lot of those in my Facebook page. But the shadow entities, for me, they were actual separate entities, and they were malevolent, and they were doing their best to keep me harassed and afraid. And I learned to stand up for myself young, because I was like 5 years old and had to stand up to these things. And they were blacker than black, smoky edges like black smoke, but with white eyes and bright teeth. And they would come out of the walls and out through the floors. And one of them emerged out of the toilet and growled at me. And the one that when I was at my cousin's house, I was in the basement and we were playing together. And we had one of those phones. You remember the phones that were kind of like red and blue? They had little eyes and they had a little clapper on those red wheels. And you would only be able to ring if it was moving because the little clapper had to turn and hit the bell because the wheels had to spin. Well, there was one of those in the basement, and I kept feeling this negative, these terrifying presence, a presence that it just I knew was emanating hate. You could feel it, like it wanted to tear me apart. And it got heavier and heavier and heavier, and we're getting more and more uncomfortable. And that phone started ringing, and it ringing and ringing and ringing. So the phone wasn't ringing, but it was ringing. And my cousin, ran up the stairs, and I just walked up the stairs and was like, I'm 5 years old. I'm a big girl now, and you're not gonna scare me. So I walked up the stairs, and I was like, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna go to the next stairs, use the bathroom. And when I got to the bathroom, and this black thing rose out of the toilet and had bright eyes, and it was solid black. It was
my God.
Yeah. Had needle-like teeth, like a barracuda had needle teeth.
Oh, it is so creepy.
I think you have a picture of that.
I think too.
And I ran out into the street. My dad had stopped me from being hit by a car.
Oh my goodness.
Thank God.
That is so crazy. Wow.
Well, let me scroll down. Now, this is your page. Angela Boyley. Can you guys stop the conversation there? Because it keeps popping up.
It's not me. It's no conversation.
Boyley, psychic portrait artist.
Right, Angela Boyley, psychic portrait artist.
You can find this, and I'm going to scroll down to that.
Oh, I like that one.
Picture.
Yeah, that's a tiger. The tiger is a little girl. A spirit animal with a little girl. I will do. But I see spirits around people. I'll paint them as well. This is the spirit guides and angels.
Let me get down to the toilet demon, because this reminded me a little bit of our conversation.
Yeah, this is painting a bit for Linda.
Yeah.
Oh, that's these are. Oh, I love that one's my favorite.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't go by it.
No, we haven't.
No more.
Yeah, the one that there it is.
Oh, that's creepy. That's creepy.
Yeah. I told Howard.
Yes.
I know.
Howard Petrieson knows about this. Yeah.
Yeah. No offense against him in that regard.
No.
But he does talk about a sort of, I don't know, I'll use a nice word, turd demon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Toilet demon.
And there, you may have something similar.
How funny! There's a purse right there on the back of the toilet, and a package.
That's actually 2 rolls of toilet paper sitting.
That's probably the toilet brush by the toilet. I don't think it's the first one.
I got it. All that pareidolia.
Right.
Exactly.
But there is something very I don't know. I see a real darkness in the face and the fangs, the eyes, a certain realism, a semi-formation of something trying to be human. Whether or not it's coming from the toilet or
it's almost sad. It's almost sad.
Your cabinet. It's kind of spooky.
It was the same thing that was wanted to tear me apart in the basement. I'm like, you're not going to make me scream, and I challenged it. So I went upstairs, and it made me scream. They got out of the toilet and growled at me.
I bet.
Okay, here's a good question. George asked, the majority of these incidents that happened to the panel happened after their NDE.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
Except mine. I had the experience of a negative entity in a house. I could feel it when I walked up to the house. And I was told that it was because it was a backlash of my mom having cast a spell on a woman to stop bothering us. And
wow.
And it was after that I had the feeling on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
And I was watched in the bathroom when I was taking a shower. And finally, one day when I was drying off, about the 3rd time this experience happened, I saw this huge black beetle on the door. I thought it was huge, and it was blacker than black. And we'd never had those kind of beetles around our house in the garden, never. So I squished it, and before I got to it, it went.
Wow.
I thought it was so funny, but it was scary doing that because I had to flick the towel to make it fall on the floor, and then I had to get a wad of tissue paper, cover it to pick it up, and flush it down the tank. But after that, that spirit went into the attic and never came out into the house proper again. But
Insane.
I don't know if I've been told that St. Michael will take care of those kind of things after you vacate the house. And because I worried about it, and that, years later, I'm going, if somebody experienced that after we moved and they started living there, I don't know. And so I had a psychic look into it, and she said they were fine, that it was gone.
Now, for me, those entities were attacking me because, in fact, Jesus himself came to me later in a vision, said he had given me this gift, and the demons want to control it, but he's in control of it.
Wow.
He's in control of my abilities. He gave that to me, and that was the reason. It was demonic attacks. So this is a spirit animal. I will paint. I see spirit animals, spirit guides, angels, all the spirits around people, and how they want to appear. They show me how they want to be depicted, and this was a spirit animal for a little girl. It's this tiger. So he's got the two colors there: the green representing, the heart energy, and also growth and new growth if she's very young. The orange colors with the boldness and the courage.
Hi, Valerie.
In the tiger.
Amazing. You just
I love that picture.
I love your art so much. I don't know what it is. It just touches me and my heart. And I'm just like, I'm not usually like that, but I just love it so much.
I feel like all art and inspiration in general for certain things is spirit driven. Like it comes from another place.
Like a muse. Yeah.
Like a muse.
Right.
And then it comes from another place. And do you feel like that, Angela? Do you feel when you're painting these spirits that they're communicating to you what they want to be represented as?
Yes, they tell me what they want to be represented as. Sometimes they'll show me symbols to incorporate as messages to the people that they're with. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they'll give me a very specific image. They want a person to meditate on. Now, this person is named Pete. He was from the Phyllis Crawley Mansion. I did an investigation in the Phyllis Crawley Mansion with Blue Collar Paranormal. I'm a team member for them. And he was such a strong presence there. And he welcomed me on the front porch. It was like it's like everything told me that he was a living person, but I couldn't physically see him. But I could see him in my
He seems friendly.
I could hear his voice, and he was talking to me. He was welcome. Like, welcome. I'm so glad you came. I am so glad you came. And he was welcoming over and over again. We were in the basement, and there were several spirits that I was picking up, and I was talking to these two little girls from before the house was built. And then he came through the spirit box, and I recognized his voice, identified himself by name. We had a very full, complete conversation with each other. And he was asking me for help. And I tried to cross him over, and he was, thanking me, thank you for coming over to help him. And he felt like he was weighed down to the earth, like he was grounded, like I was trying to lift him up, but his feet was almost underground, like it was so heavy. So what I did, because I have the ability to open the door of heaven with a prayer, and anything I ask for from heaven, heaven will send me. So I asked for these balls of light to come from heaven and to go to his feet and pick them up by his feet. And so the light from heaven did exactly that. A big ball of light came down, picked up his feet, and I said, do you see the light? He said, yeah, I see the light. And is it at your feet? And he says, yeah, is it lifting enough? Yes, it is. And he says he said it's working, and he was able to cross over. He was lifted up into heaven. Over and over again as he was going.
That's beautiful.
It's from the 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was having conversation with him and these two little girls that predated him. See, he was from the mid 1800s, and the two little girls were from the 1700s. And the girls from the 1700s said they were hiding from Indians. They were killed by Indians. They were still hiding there. And I helped them, basically talked to them, coaxed them out, brought light to them, just like I did with the others. Sometimes I'll just ask that light be opened, and they'll see what they need to see to help them cross over. And I get to see where they cross over to and see what the light presents to them.
I think that's so cool.
And I zoomed down for them, and then the light that was brought down to them, I saw their parents, and their parents are this beautiful place that looked like an orchard. And the father came down and was picking up one little girl and was holding the hand of the other little girl, and they were just hugging, and the mother was there, and they were all reunited. And I got to see this, and when the investigators really started to feel the emotion for the reunion of the parents.
I got a ton of insight. And did that all come to you like really fast, like what experiencers in ufology call a download? Did you just kind of know all these things all at once? Did it hit you like
it's like the clairaudience, like you just know certain things. You just have the knowledge of, okay, they're hiding, and I just asked them where they're hiding from. They said Indians, and I will see images like still shots of scenes that led up to the death, and
sort of
I get a feeling, and then I just know, like, and not when I'll see, and I'll playing my head, I'll see the images of them crossing over, the light coming. I can see everything going on in the spirit realm.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
It's very much like active listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Taking that download, taking that information, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's so many labels, and that's where you get into the confusion. What's ufology? What's paranormal? What is this other area of discussion we want to talk about? I think a lot of times you just kind of know these things. You see it real fast. It might even be symbolic, but you know what it means. Might be a flurry of like symbols or something in your head. But
I think Angela's a great detective.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I love the art. Yeah.
Yes,
cool,
it's amazing.
One of the things too is that the spirits will validate things. So when I was at the Phillips Foley mansion, if I would say something correctly, the spirits would acknowledge it by setting off all the detectors around, like instantly. They would all go off. And when one person would try to shine a flashlight on me, but it would not shine on me. It would shine everywhere else. But the moment he shined the flashlight on me, it would turn off.
So interesting. We had a question out there from George. Oh, so I just dropped it. There it is. Does color have a meaning when it comes to orbs? And do you guys see orbs?
Yes.
I've seen one that I can absolutely undeniably, I know it was my brother. I have it, but it wasn't your typical orb. It was not bulbous. It was like almost like cigar shape. It was very strange, and it was like projecting, and I know it was my brother. I know it. I've got it. I'll share it with you guys eventually. But yeah, I have seen, but I can't see them with my own eye. I have to use a phone or whatever, or a camera. I've never seen one with my bare eyes. No.
I have, and I've had a few times. And the Kutztown Elementary School, I saw one that me and another investigator, we were going even 2 minutes for investigation. We start walking upstairs, and we see something that looks like a comet fly down the hallway. And she said, "Did you see that? Did you see what I see?" I said, "What did you see?" "I see something that looked like a comet." I said, "Yeah, I didn't want to say anything because that's what I saw."
Did you see
that? I had this flash of inspiration. I knew who it was. It was Billy. Like, I know him so well. Like, I've been to the post town so many times. Like, I know him. It's just like how he moves around. And at where I live now, I seen orb like slowly come out from behind a tree. It was blue, and it came out and it just circled the tree. The one I saw at Post Town was bright white, and there was one I saw on the back in the woods that was red. It was small and it was very, very red, pulsed red. It was
Well,
flying in a straight line in the woods, went right in front of me, and was pulsed in front of me, like looking at me, like, oh, I'm just
They're trying
checking
to
you
communicate with
Do you
you.
think they're all human or are they maybe alien? And I also wondered if the ones that we see, have they already gone over to check out their life, crossed over, and they have come back? Is that the
My
orbs that we're seeing? Have they
the
come back?
orbs that I'm seeing, and this is what my first from my visual experience, because I've seen them on top of everybody's head. I think it's actually our spirit is in the form of an orb, because I see him right on
Like
people.
a halo, or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly, and it's perfectly round spirit. If I see
Hey,
it
Debbie.
discolored around somebody's head, I know that they have Parkinson's disease. If I see that is turned brown, or they have some sort of neurological disease developing. And there was two elderly women I was just
Echo, I wasn't.
No.
helping with, and they both, and I was just watching them, and both of them, I saw the orb over their head, but it turned a darker color. And like less than a month later, after I saw the change of color, they were both diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
wow.
Did it mean something to you in the moment when you saw the dark brown? Did you think, okay, there's something wrong here?
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I was seeing that around everybody, and I noticed that healthy people had bright colors. Typically, it was bright over their head, and if they had a dark or dingy one, the person was sick.
Mm-hmm. It
That
makes
makes
me think
sense.
that there's no hard, fast rules. Like their expression is coming through, whether it's interdimensionally or all the different ways we talk about these things, right?
Right.
To you as something that means something to you, but maybe to you specifically. Meaning, all right, dark brown spot in the temple means this. Like, I don't think that is true for all cases, right? It's
Right.
probably the person interpreting it and how they see it, and somewhere in between that communication is expressed in that way.
Right, and I will actually feel frequencies around people. So if I feel like high notes, high vibration, I actually feel music, and if it feels high, then I know they're a kind person and they're very open minded. Their soul is rather involved. If they're very low notes and it's such a low frequency, it feels like it's going right through my skull. I know that person's going to be rude and they're inconsiderate and selfish. I notice that. It's like I feel in terms of frequency, like waves of frequency. It's like I can almost see the waves of frequency. I'm doing long waves or the short high waves of high frequencies.
That is amazing.
That is
And I'm
amazing.
going to go back to another comment. I think it was Echo Leaf Eric that made this comment, was asking whether it was the near-death experience or some other experience that opened up this communication to you. Like after the experience, now it was easier to communicate with spirit. Now you saw the synchronicities. Now you saw the shadow people.
Right. Exactly. That was, I felt like I was being tuned, like my frequency at which I exhibited or which I exist at was adjusted. And in fact, with spirits and speaking with Jesus coming periodically, it was like my brain had been rewired after I had been died and sent back, so I could see and experience all those frequencies and also process the new information because it's a new sense, right? So when your brain's taking in a new sense, let's say if you're blind all your life or deaf all your life, and all of a sudden you can hear or can see, that's tremendous amount of information. Your brain still has to figure out how to process that new information.
Right.
Exactly.
And
I think it's health information that we're seeing in colors and in muddiness and in brightness, and it's in your aura. And it's one way that healers can get information about how you're doing.
Right, because I can look at a body and look at somebody, and I will see. If I see a dark column through the center, that's usually know that person's chronically depressed. Okay, if I see what their energy around the heart, and it looks like a rat's nest over it. If you've ever seen somebody try to rewire something and it looks like a rat's nest or install their own radio themselves, but it's just a rat's nest of wires, that's somebody that's had a triple bypass.
Wow.
I see that. Somebody's got a triple bypass. It looks like the pink energy. I usually see pink around the heart or in the heart, a little pink light. But somebody that's got a triple bypass or a quadruple bypass, I see like what looks like pink wires going out everywhere, and it's this bright pink.
Dang.
These emotions will be in different colors for me too. People's emotions and also their physical, what they do physically. Athletes typically, like if they play a lot of basketball, I'll see a lot of red light along their hands and their legs because they're very physically active. People will have a red. It's almost like a red outline around their hands and their legs because they're running up and down the court and using their hands a lot playing basketball.
Yeah.
But I'll see, and I'll see blockages too, like this, like energy
Do
blockages.
you have a spirit guide for health that clues you in?
Yes, there's one that kind of helps do when I do Reiki, or that's particularly when that angel that I did a painting of that looks like a fire, like he's made of fire. And he says he looks like fire because the fire represents the passion of God's love for us. And so he's helping me. And when I ever do that type of energy cleansing or any type of energy work, he's actually doing the work with me. And I will feel through my hands, if somebody has chronic inflammation, I will feel heat in that area of their body. Like they have chronic sinus, I'll feel heat back here. Like chronic inflammation, I can feel. When people have had tumors, I've been able to feel tumors. I've been able to feel people with high blood pressure, chronic migraines, and all sorts of
Chronic ear ringing?
chronic ear ringing. Oh my God! Yeah, first that was the
I'm afraid what you see with me. I'm like, oh my God.
She might do a painting of it,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That'd be awesome, man. That'd be awesome.
I'll
Yeah.
be in so much trouble.
I do a lot of painting, so yeah, the spirits will show me. So when I'm doing portraits, when I see spirits around people and they show themselves to me, I will paint what they, not only how they want to be depicted, but and how I see them, but I will incorporate whatever symbols or whatever message they want to communicate. And so when I'm at a psychic fair and I sit and paint for somebody, as I'm painting, I will relay the messages. Now, it may not make sense to me, but a lot of times it makes a lot of sense for the person.
So it sounds to me like, so when you draw, you're not drawing the way you see them. You're drawing the way they want you. They want to be seen.
Right, exactly. The way they want to be depicted. And
They're
sometimes
communicating.
yes. Only the person gets, and I don't get it, and the other person will instantly know. Like, I know this is meant for me, and nobody else. I know that this is real. I have sat down. I know one of these at the Mystics and Marbles one year, and the expo is called Gift of Light Expo. And this man sat down, and I kept seeing the cars, and I'm like, because I have an automotive background, so I'm educated on automotive, and I just saw, I see this car, I see he's doing the build, as this guy is, and I started painting the portrait. He says, he keeps telling me, you need to get down there and do the tear down so you can learn more about engines. You need to do the work. And I knew he was holding back from doing that. He says, yeah, that's what my dad would say. So I did the portrait, and I showed him the portrait. He's like, that's my dad. I mean, I didn't
Wow.
see his dad, never met his dad, but I do a portrait of his dad. But this, I remember this one woman who sat down, and I was doing a portrait of her great-great-grandfather kept coming through. He gave his name, and I did his portrait. I said, I didn't know why, but even though he died an old man, he wants me to show him when he's aged about 17 or 18. So I showed her the portrait, and then he says, oh my gosh, that looks like my son. She showed me a picture of her son, and he looked identical to the picture of her son. He was 18 at the
Wow.
time.
Wow.
And the only difference was like the hairstyle. There's things like that. So they validate everything. I just trust what I'm getting, and I go with it.
Yeah.
And not be judgmental about it, and just go with it.
It's so interesting that you recognize
Automatic painting.
that
Exactly.
that they're trying to show you what they want to be presented as, and it's something I know
That's
we
what fascinates
this
me.
on the show.
Yeah.
You guys know we do this, right? About aliens or whatever they are, they're interdimensional, whatever they are, trying to express themselves from your own memories and that sort of thing. Like they're taking it from you and they're going to give it to you. And here it is. And it sounds similar to what you're saying, Angela.
Right. They will come to me, they will show me images, and they will give me sometimes they will take control of what I'm actually doing on the canvas and just take control of what I'm doing. For example, the one of the angel that was on my Facebook page there, the one with the blue flaming wings.
That's one of my favorites. I
Yeah,
love
it was one thing I want to pay attention. You want to pay attention to that's on his shirt. So look at his shirt. The top part of him, he has a little design on his shirt, looks like a flame. Well, the woman I did the portrait of for us, I saw this angelic being around him, but her husband had passed at 5 years before. And he came to me like the night before in a dream and was standing behind me in the mirror. He looked young, he was 17, 18. Somehow I just knew it was her husband. He looked just perfect. He just one of these guys, he just had the perfect look. His hair just so he looked handsome. And then he disappeared out of the mirror. And then the next day, my parents started having paranormal experiences. He was validating that he had visited me. For example, he was like, my dad has this suction company, he only keeps with his truck, right? He only keeps it inside the truck, and he uses it for his golf bag. Well, somehow I got out of the truck and onto his golf bag. When he got out, he got out of the shower. You know how my parents were older. When they get to a certain point, everything is just so. They have everything in the same drawer. My dad has everything in the bottom drawer. It's laid out a certain way. Well, he was looking for his seal and razor, and they were gone. He opened up the door. He's like, "Where are they?" And he looked up, and here they were on top of the sink. The razor was standing up by itself, and it was one of the little blue plastic disposable ones. Those don't stand up by itself, and it was standing up by itself.
Wow. That is so cool.
And so what their husband did, and he has two paintings, technically he has two paintings. The one with the angel and paying attention to the shirt, well, that design on the shirt, I wasn't consciously controlling how that design would be on his shirt. But this little design that's on his shirt, well, he had bought a samurai helmet, and that same pattern is on the samurai helmet that he had bought when he was alive with his wife. And she saw that. She said, "I know this from my husband." And like, I didn't know it was painting. I just thought I'm just going to do this flame. But he was an absolute. I couldn't paint anything else other than the shape. I couldn't. It was physically impossible, as he was influencing that. But I saw this angel around her. He calls himself the guardian of the blue white flame. That's the energy that he protects. It's a healing energy. And she had recently lost her ability to walk, and she could find a wheelchair. And he's letting her know that she can call upon him and use that blue white healing energy, the blue white flame, for her own healing. And she had a parakeet. I kept seeing a parakeet around her shoulder. So you see that little yellow parakeet.
Did you say a parakeet?
That is so bizarre. That's synchronicity right there. A haunted parakeet.
The little parakeet, she had a parakeet when her parents raised parakeets when she was little. And she just played with one and accidentally killed it. And it was still with her. It's like, it doesn't hold a grudge or anything, but was just doing a parakeet thing in the spirit world. And I kept seeing this little parakeet coming up around. And then she told me about the parakeet that had passed. And then I saw the dove with her as well as a spirit guide. And then there's another painting that her husband did. I kept asking her husband, "Okay, what do you want me to paint that's from you also, just exclusively yours?" He started to think about it, and he came back and he started yelling like, I got it, I know what I want, He was yelling at me. I was having to do this because I could hear him yelling in my head so much. Okay, I'll get to it tomorrow. So,
that is so cool. And you have a bunch of them.
His painting is the one that looks abstract because he's on the other side. He's learning about, since he's very analytical, he's learning about different timelines, different dimensions, and how they interact and flow together. And that was the abstract painting. It was just, I think, just before or after the one of the angel on my Facebook page.
It's interesting. I love that the angel had a battle axe, but I want to bring on, we have Irene has joined us.
Irene Chikora.
Hey.
Yes.
Hello, Irene.
Hi, baby. How are you?
Tired.
I know.
Welcome to Big
Great.
How are you doing tonight? I know you're going through a lot. We
Yeah.
mentioned that
Yeah,
a
just
little bit earlier.
he did. It's one thing right after another. Oh, like please,
So your
How's your
husband,
husband? Is he okay? He's okay,
yeah,
right? He's in the men. Okay,
way
good.
too much.
Hi, Irene.
Hey dear. Oh,
You helped me
Hi,
so
Reggie.
much.
yeah. How is that thing in your house? Is it gone?
Uh, it's a new thingy now.
Oh shoot. The more thingies we remove from your house, the more thingies come back. You know that?
Yeah, I know. And I finally, there's a neighbor in my building who finally looked me up because his girlfriend died about in October, and then his sister died like 3 weeks ago, and he's like looking me up in the rec room because I'm playing puzzle. And you can read that look on their face when they got a lot to ask you. And it turns out that like he believes in reincarnation, he believes in a lot of stuff for that. And so I'm not sure what he wants because I'm not going to go out there and read him, but I can tell.
But remember, your place, the soil on the bottom has a lot of history with it, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of, the more you get rid of it, it'll come back over and over again, and you really can't. You really
Well,
can't.
others come out. Like there was a Joe guy who I told him, I asked him, I said, what's your name, Joe? Do you want to be crossed over? Do you want to go over there now? He goes, no. I said, okay, well, then you have to leave my house. And he did. So he went to the kitchen. We have a restaurant on the third floor. And he's like doing pots and pans, and the chef comes running out of the kitchen, and I'm seeing him. And the chef has this look on his face like he's just seen a ghost. Well, it turns out the chef is also very psychic and can see ghosts. And I'm like telepathically communicating with him. And so he did tell me what was going on. And I said, I think I know it's Joe. So I went home, and Joe came over to my house. And I said, Joe, is that you? Yes. I said, are you ready to cross over? No. Joe, you are ready. He goes, yeah, I am. So you just
portal. Yeah.
So he agreed to go get crossed over.
Yeah.
And I've been working that kind of thing for many of the spirits that are living at the place where I live.
There's a portal there too. I can see it in the hallway outside. Portal there. That's what it's done.
Okay, you'll have to tell me where it is, and I'll just bless it all the time, try to close it. I don't know what I should do with it.
There's a portal in the hallway. I can see that. And there's a portal.
I feel like my door's marked as if here's the person who can talk to you. Go see her.
There's a balcony. There's a portal in the balcony too. I can see that also.
Above my apartment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you gotta do something about that.
Yeah. There's a cemetery 2 miles away, but our place used to be a golf course before it became a living complex for senior citizens.
Well,
And
thanks to Donald Trump, we know we can bury the dead in golf courses. So.
Cemetery. There was a cemetery a long time ago with the golf courses, and then they didn't take away they took away the headstones, but they didn't dig up the bodies.
Oh no, because I have been so sensitive all my life to dead people.
Ground penetrating radar out. Here we go.
I mean, people who have died on the property where I work and now where I live. Okay.
Yeah,
it's fine. I can help them.
I can
with
see
your help, actually.
Well, you'll get my bill in the mail.
Okay. I hope your husband is doing really well fast.
We all do.
We all do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you came on, Irene.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I know
Yeah,
you
now,
a
Sue,
lot. I'm gonna just ask you a couple of questions to bring you up to speed. Have you had a near-death experience?
okay.
Have you had a
I
near-death
think
experience?
I had a pneumothorax, right? Pneumothorax is a hole in your lung, and your lung collapsed, right? And I was coughing like you wouldn't believe. But as I was dying, everything seemed so warm and fuzzy. Like, oh, you're gonna be fine. Oh yeah, I love everybody. Like, oh yeah, you're a beautiful person. Oh my son. Oh, I love my son. He was only 3 years old at that time. I love you too. Oh, such a beautiful family. Oh, such a warm fuzzy feeling I got, and everything became nice and. Oh, I just loved everybody. And that was it. And then all of a sudden, I was in the hospital, getting my getting a pointed rock punched in my lung, and I go, I'm back. Damn, that hurt.
Shit.
I can totally relate to that, Irene. I was in a car accident where I went through a windshield and I broke my
oh my God.
femur, and I stood up and walked, and it's like physically impossible to do that. That's your thigh bone, and it was, but I had this warm and fuzzy, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at the moon, and it
Yeah.
was all this warm and fuzzy, but I didn't hit that point that a lot of people talk to, where they kind of go to, quote unquote heaven or into the light or some other place. I didn't quite get there. And, it was a bit lonely, but I did definitely feel warm and fuzzy. And obviously, my body was not feeling any pain. It didn't matter. But I wasn't quite to that next level that gets brought about.
And the doctor said, if you don't get an operation now, you're gonna die. And I said, oh, yeah, really? Oh, okay.
Right.
Boy, that's stupid, What a stupid thing to say. I look back on it. Boy, you were dumb.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I think,
were any of these experiences that you had sort of a catalyst to being maybe more psychic or open?
Yeah. But there's one freaky thing that happened to me. My mom died, right? She died in 1999, right before my sister's birthday, right? And she was laying in the casket. And I looked at her, and she's going like this, smiling, like grinning from ear to ear. I said, "Ooh, that's freaky." And then when everyone else looked, she like that. So I go, "You said that? Yeah, I said that. Did you see that? Yeah, I said that." And I said that. I said, "What the hell happened?" I don't know. You gonna tell me? No, we're not gonna tell anybody. We told everybody else. You're kidding.
Oh, cool.
Listen.
Cool, Jenny.
Ooh. And I said, "You on drugs? No, we're not on drugs. No. No." That was right after I had my operation on my lung to fix the hole in my lung.
Right.
Oh yeah. Am I on drugs? I thought, nah, I didn't take any pain medicine just now. Holy cow. Yeah, we're in trouble now. How are you gonna explain this? Yeah, you keep shh.
You gotta take those pain medicines when they give it to you,
Yeah. Oh, I know. I just came out of an operation. I had 6 hours operation. I had that fixed on this side. Now I got to go back to the hospital and get fixed on this side. So yeah,
you ready?
I want to wait until an alien come to Earth and say, "Can you help fix me, please?"
They seem to have the skills, right? So they
mad skills, those aliens.
Between
you're sure thing on the table going
considered paranormal and what's considered kind of an alien contact experience is a lot of times the aliens, whether they're from another galaxy, Pleiades, we talk about a lot of things here, or you just recognize them as an alien versus say the deceased spirit of your great grandmother is that the aliens may be able to do something for you, like physically. They might be able to heal something, change some physiological portion of your body.
because my body's screwed.
Yeah, I
Our
love that.
bodies are
We're-
too. So
We're all screwed here, believe me.
So ambush and tech. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Yeah.
So psychic Angela,
Yeah.
I was thinking that we could do a 3-way, and you could ask
Dirty.
the gate of heaven to pour the energy
Hmm.
on Irene to help her heal.
Yeah.
I'm pulling out all this icky stuff out of
I just realized my mic was muted. I'm like
From
laughing
where?
over you like crazy.
Irene.
it's okay. You always do that. You pull the gremlins from the feed. I love that.
Oh my God.
It's of her camera and
Yep.
like literally pulling out the negative energy.
That's what she's doing. Love this.
I don't hear the echo chatter thing anymore. I wonder if that was part of it.
Got it. She got it. There's lots of great questions out in the audience, so I'm going to throw a couple out. From Echo Leaf,
Yes.
he says, would someone with multiple personality disorder be considered a shapeshifter, being that their energy colors change daily? Just a thought.
It's an actually good question.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's not just
Okay.
the colors are changing, but their patterns are changing, because I see patterns of color around a person's head that tells me about neurological activity. So if a person multiple personalities, you'll see that shift in their patterns around their head. Me, and then that's a different personality, because that other personality is going to have completely different pattern, neurological pattern than the other personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And one will tend to be different, than dominant than the other for a while.
That must be our frequency signature, the neurological patterns that you're talking about.
Right, so the patterns are going to be different, and one will radically shift to the other, and it may be completely.
But it is a form of shapeshifting. It is a form of shapeshifting.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that I heard, so I'm not an expert yet, but I do a lot of research, and they said that this person, those other personalities are from their past lives,
Mhm.
that they have not finished lessons from their past lives, and they're bleeding over into the current life. But
I
there's
agree with that.
a lot of strong, energy going on there to do that. I think.
Or
That's what I
unresolved
feel.
lessons, right? So, I mean, do you think the purpose of life is to fulfill some sort of lesson, or I don't know, obligation, or learn something?
Earth is a school.
Right?
We have lessons all the time. You finish a series of
Always learn.
lessons.
There's
Oh,
school
never-
too, and there's
Start a new one.
too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
everything. Everybody's always learning. We learn every time. Like something new comes up all the time.
Yeah.
We learn something, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, it's not like Linda was saying, you're saying like being an expert. I don't think any of us
Oh
in
God, I'm far from it. Trust me.
paranormal are experts. And I don't like that term, seeing that, because we're trying to find out, what is it? The wows and highs. The high,
And seriously,
wows, that's it.
The house and wise.
That's it. No, the highs and wows. But
Wow.
like, we just, I feel
This is a conversation, yes.
Yeah.
But I wanted to differentiate it between, I do a lot of book reading, and I do a lot of research on different aspects of everything. And this was the latest that I had read. And I thought it fit the most. You know what I mean?
most definitely.
that's for me too. I agree with that.
From
Now,
what
absolutely.
I have a warlock who's above me. Like he taught me everything that I learned, and more. So he's above me as my teacher. So he knows more than me, since he's already died once already. So yeah, he knows a lot more than I do. But I always come to him. I said, "Help!" Like this. Sometimes it's help.
Yeah, I'm taken out of my body sometimes for lessons.
Yeah. So
I'm
I
taking
always
it
go
out.
to him for help. You know, if I really need, and he tells me, okay, you do this and this, and I go, okay, I'll do it. And he goes, bye. He goes, yeah, okay, bye. He leaves me to do it. So yeah, because he knows what I can do, and I know what I can do, right? I know how strong I am, and I know what I need. But you notice I don't wear any crystals or anything like that on me, because I know me. I know what I can handle.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
You know your excuse me. You know your inner spiritual warrior.
I love that moniker, Warlock. I used to use that at one time. But what does a warlock mean to you, Irene?
Somebody who has white energy, right? White light, white energy, positive energy, to protect. Everyone thinks that the witch gives a bad juju. No, it's the other way around. A witch protects your home. You use white energy to protect your environment, to protect your family, to protect your house from outside negative energy. That's what it means. To protect you as a person, to protect your family, to protect your pets, to protect everything around you.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
They're part of the family. They are here.
Yes.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
Reggie says, my body doesn't shapeshift. My soul shapeshifts in order to communicate with the same frequency with another soul.
It's amazing.
I love that.
You frequency, Reggie, you frequency shift. That's exactly what you're doing. Yeah. And when somebody says meditate to reach your higher self, that's the same thing. And to me, I believe that the higher self is just a part of is your soul is so big it can't fit in your body. And so the soul is right above the crown chakra, and so you want to be able to connect with the divine source. So raise your frequency so you can be there.
And almost feel whole. Get
in there. Get in there.
I mean it. I mean, to really connect, because like Linda was saying, it's so true. Sometimes it could be past life, it could be this, it could be that, but there's so much personality that there's not enough to contain within the body. So our minds are seeking, something higher,
Right. Yep, we agree.
I love that.
Reggie.
That's so cool.
Another question from Carol. She says, so could a person with multiple personality disorder have separate sicknesses within their body?
Absolutely.
Would they show up differently to someone who is psychically connecting to them? Would they see multiple people? Would they see?
Right. Like Angela, what do you think you would say?
When I'm looking at a body, and what I get is what I see are different colors, and in the body, and I'll see like a map of their energy. And if a person has a different personality, a different person, I would see a different energy body. Yeah. It was like seeing one person with multiple bodies.
But you would define them as one person. You would just
you define them as one person.
Are you talking about the aura body?
Well, what I see, I would call the energy body. Some people would call the aura, but I see the energy body. There's like an inner energy body that I see. Okay. And I see the aura outside is separate from that. Okay. It's like an inner energy body, like a map of where your chakras are and your energy flows. And then I can get information from that, health, blockages, emotions, and things that are going on. So I think I would I don't think I've ever read anybody with multiple personalities before, but I would expect that since they all share one body, and I might see a different pattern as a personality would shift to another, would rapidly change the pattern.
Yes.
Because their whole attitude changes, their voice changes when they're when a different personality is present and forward and present.
You'll get different colors, and like she's talking about colors, she sees things in colors, and when you see different fragments of different personalities within the same person. You get different auras and vibes from the same person, different colors, even though it's the same body. You know what I mean?
Well,
Right.
I just wondered how far does the difference go? You know, I was wondering if it was just the aura you were reading, and so now, and I have heard of energy body, and we have like the ability to extend our aura out, so that when spirits go by us, they can touch our aura, but our aura, if it's out far enough, won't allow the spirit to touch our body.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm kind of like. That's the level of where I'm understanding.
I've also heard of people like doing this sort of mammalian reflex, or I think that's what it's called, where they kind of withdraw so much so that they seem invisible, right? And that's where invisibility.
I thought the mammalian reflex was when if you were in water and you're sinking in the water, is that you have an instinct to not breathe, and your body will change its oxygen consumption automatically without you thinking about it. That's how I understood the mammalian
I
response.
may have used the wrong term, but it is a sort of thing where you withdraw, you almost appear dead. Maybe that's similar. I'm not
You're
sure.
thinking your aura in yourself, like, and you can also change like the frequency and the color to appear invisible, or a red to blend in. For me, it doesn't work because I'm bright white light, so I'm not blending into anything. But
Right.
some people
You may not want to be seen, right?
it's like I'm like, mine is like extremely bright white light. So when the spirits see me, they see me like this. There's this big white light coming in. You
That's
know?
the way I
Echoes this
describe.
bad circulation.
Yeah. I just Chris and I are like beacons, light beacons to. That's how they know our names when we, go out and do things, and we're very
Seemingly, we
respectful.
try to explain that stuff. Like, how do they?
We're beacons.
I guess they take it from us somehow.
Yeah.
George
Beacons, you guys are the best.
is what I consider to be close to an expert. Well, I'm just going to throw this out here and plug ourselves real fast. We talked to Lloyd, and he is close to an expert. I think he is an expert. He's a fantastic guy. We have an interview with him you can find in our archives. And I'm going
Archives, yep.
throw this out here in our chats real fast. If you're interested in that, you can find it on youtube.com @Dark Horse Paranormal. Plug.
Yes, and we liked. He is so
We didn't
cool.
talk about
Yeah, Lloyd is amazing.
He really is. He's a chocolatier, right?
Greg says, yeah, he's a chocolatier.
One head with multiple bodies.
But,
I haven't met one of those, Greg.
Irene, I need to ask, what you doing?
I know, right?
Great.
you guys are contaminated.
I love it,
I
guys.
felt something in the
Get a
chat
lot
and
out of
get
you
rid of
guys.
it. Sorry,
Pull it
it's
in,
just-
push it out.
it
I
was
don't doubt
just really bothering me. I didn't like what it was doing. Like
What-
it was trying to interrupt with the audio.
Just to let you know, earlier, Greg Koss was talking to me and messaged me real quick, and he said, I hear a male's voice in the background. I'm like, oh my God, we heard that earlier during sound check.
Yeah, during the test, sound check. Yes, that was crazy. I had just joined and I heard it too.
I hear it now.
Nope, I don't hear
I was
anything.
backstage, so it wasn't me on microwave.
Nope.
I mean, on.
But Irene's
Totally
funny.
understand. Odd things happen on this channel.
Oh goodness, yes, of course. Because look at all of us.
When
We're
I
all
get
beacons.
crazy stuff happens, okay? I'm gonna be very honest with you, okay? Because you're not supposed to be here. You're gonna leave. Goodbye.
Jeez, I say that in my house all the time. Give me get out. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I just didn't like the energy that was surrounding it, and it was making my hand just get really sore, and it feel a lot. And it comes.
I wish I was like all of you. I mean, I know we're all individuals, and we all have our different and labels, Anne Marie Young, but like all our Claires and everything. But my God, everybody here on our panel is just like amazing. You have amazing gifts.
Thank you.
I think it's because we're all friends and we support each other.
We
I
do.
They want to do if I tell somebody, they go,
Yeah, that's why we.
But I feel safe with you guys because anybody else would be like, "What are you nuts?"
Exactly.
You know?
This is why I've never said
We get
anything
it,
in
Irene,
my life.
too.
We understand. Yep.
yeah.
That's the same thing Joshua just said. Yep, they're gonna think we're in Looney Tunes. See ya. Get the
I think already do. Half my family thinks I'm certifiable.
No, it's like I want my my straight jacket in purple with sparkles and shit. But yeah,
Imagine what
all
you
the
say.
time. But it's true.
What do you think? I see dead people. Right.
Exactly. Do you know how many guests have actually? We'll do sound check and they say that because we have to say what we're gonna say and and I see dead people. So many guests of ours say that and we just crack up laughing because
Sounds like the movie.
Exactly.
And that movie, The Sixth Sense, it was just like I could kick myself in the butt because I didn't get that the psychiatrist was a ghost.
Oh, I didn't get it towards the end part either, like or the middle-ish end. I'm like, really?
But the thing with me, I see dead people all the time. Like, there's no way of escaping it. You just, I was possessed twice before I could do this, and
before you could do this,
yeah,
before you had the gifts, you were possessed twice.
Yeah.
Oh, please do tell.
Yeah,
I'm curious about just in general. Not to ask her a specific question about who, but can you feel a difference in a quality of who you're around when you're around a live person?
I can't tell you. Maybe someday I'll tell you, but as long as it knows that I know that it knows that I'm talking about it, I can't say anything. I'm sorry.
I get that.
Understand. Yes.
I guess I keep pushing the envelope.
Push the envelope there.
I'll tell you someday.
Someday. That's fine. I'm probably not ready to hear it yet anyway.
If you're not that's totally
Hi,
cool.
Julianne.
Anne-Marie Young says, talk about weird stuff happening. I found a diamond ring in my washing machine today. No idea where it came from.
Hey,
somebody emptied their pockets.
Your family. That diamond ring, I know already. That diamond ring came from your family, from your relatives. Your dead relative wanted you to have it. So I think you should treasure it and keep it with you all the time. And remember that it came from somebody that loved you.
And it's an apport. That's what we call those.
Yeah, there's a good example.
I found diamond rings in my washing machine every day.
Are you getting married again, or
send an apport to me, will you?
Yeah, when you talk
That's
about
awesome.
crazy town things like that, people would, kind of challenge me or challenge my abilities. It's like I just trust what I'm being given, and there has been times where there's one when we went to her apartment. She didn't 100% believe she was atheist, but then after I went through the spirit cross, helping me cross over and the spirit crossover, she believed. She became a believer. There's people that people I work for, my bosses, and they say, "Oh, they don't believe me." And then I turned around and described my boss's grandmother perfectly, she. And describe, and his wife's ancestry. And like I told her the same thing like another psychic told her. It's like you're picking up the same things. And I had another person who actually did not believe anything about the paranormal, and he didn't believe in psychics. And I described his mother and perfectly readings I did for a house I did, described exactly what his mother looked like. Told him exactly what she said, and he's believed. So they find a way to validate the experience for somebody that isn't believing that I couldn't possibly know, but only they would know. And that connection. Now another person described his grandmother, his height, what she looked like, her personality, and she had passed away while he was still a child, so he didn't get to have her long. but he was just absolutely blown away. Like, because I described, because for me, she was standing right there, like she was right there. And I relayed that to him, and he just, and it's like the same thing. It's like trying to prove, a person with a photographic memory trying to prove it to other people all the time they have a photographic memory. It's like trying to prove to you I'm psychic. Yeah, let me just sit down for maybe 10 minutes, And then there are people who say they don't believe, but they don't want to sit down for 10 minutes just in case it's real. They're terrified that it's a real phenomenon, and they're terrified of being proven wrong.
Just jump right in. Don't wait 10 minutes. Just jump right in.
Share Anne's ring.
Oh,
it's really nice.
There's a bright energy around it too.
What she found in her washing machine today.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Tell me, guys, how is this even possible?
It was in a pocket, right?
She doesn't know where it came from. It was just in her washing machine.
Oh, maybe. Oh,
yeah.
Loose.
There's an older lady energy to it.
Mm-hmm.
She died a long time ago. She knows her as a child, but when she died before she even knew her when she grew up. So she wanted her to have it because she saw her when she was a little child like this, but afterwards she died before she even got to know her, so she wanted her to have that ring.
Oh, wow. All right.
There's a bright light around it, so I know it's from love. There's a bright light. I'm seeing so much bright light around it.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a story, because when I was at the Broadwell Funeral Home last week and doing an investigation there were a couple people that asked me to read objects. One of them was a ring. And the ring, I kept seeing, I said, there's a woman who's an elderly woman, but she had gotten sick. And I think it was from a pregnancy. And it was like a septic poisoning from a pregnancy that went wrong. And then also I felt, there was a young lady I was getting to that had died suddenly. I said, but I didn't get the woman that got sick from the pregnancy, from the blood poisoning from the pregnancy that she died from. And she says, you're absolutely right. My grandmother's still alive. She was pregnant with twins. One of the twins died in her womb, which made her extremely ill because that child was, just creating a poison, a toxic situation with it. She got basically blood poisoning from the baby, but she survived and had the other baby. And then which the adult daughter would have been her mother. The mother had died suddenly, just dropped dead at 52. So it was the granddaughter I was reading for, and the ring had been passed down from the grandmother to the mother to the daughter, and I was reading the daughter's ring, and I got all that from the ring. She said, you're absolutely right. And she was just like, I've never had any psychic be able to read a living person before off of an object.
Wow.
It's psychometry. That, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chris, did you pick up anything? Did you go ghost hunting recently?
Yes.
Me?
Yeah.
No, not recently. Actually, I'm a haunted bag of squirrels, and they just follow me. Like I said,
I picked up
bag of squirrels. I was like,
I heard somebody say yes.
Bob.
I did.
Bob was in the chat. He was in the background. He was a 45-year-old old gentleman. He died. He was in the voices before when you were talking about it.
Okay.
I found him.
And it has to do to me?
At the beginning of the show, you mean?
Yeah. I asked, who are you? What is your name? Bob, were you in the chat before? Yes. What are you doing here? Listening. I said, what are you listening? You're not supposed to be in here. I told him to go. He goes, no, I'm not going. Yeah.
I mean, what do you do when they say they won't go,
Yeah.
You're stuck in between the hard rock and a place. There's one rule I don't never cross for a person who doesn't want to be crossed over. That's it. Yeah.
Don't cross them over.
No, because
my mom, they won't go. So my daughter,
No, I'm not. I go, yes, you are. She goes, no, I'm not. I go, yes, you are. I said, Yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna argue anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't argue. It's it. Just gotta leave it
Yeah,
alone.
my mom did that for 2 hours with me.
Come on.
No, we're not gonna do. We're not gonna do. I gotta find something other way to do this. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You ever argued with your parent for 2 hours when they're dead? Like, go,
I said to my mom,
Get a
Yes.
job. Clean your room.
my mom did that to me. She poked me in the ribs. She goes, "Okay, Mom, I got you. I'm gonna vacuum right now." Yeah, I got you.
Oh my God.
You know, do you mind? I'm kind of busy now. I'm having my lunch. I'll do it after.
I'm busy.
Oh
I'm
my
having my
God.
life. I like that.
I'm dying.
Really
Bob.
strong, right? Is she
Do you know Bob, Ann?
something you do it?
Maybe.
Not that. I know.
Gosh.
Why did you ask me if I went ghost hunting or investigating? I should say. I don't like the
I'm
term.
wondering if you brought it home with you.
Bob?
I know a Bob, so that is
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah, but you might not know the Bob, you know.
But with you, he's with you in your place.
Oh, and you said he's 25.
No, 45.
Oh, he's 45. Okay.
You can avoid the two quotes from him.
I know I have two women.
Is that like an attachment kind of thing? And do you see
Yeah,
attachments?
it's to, yeah. I mean, yeah. We have to talk later on, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk with her. Yeah, you might want to talk with her later because I'm getting like a World War II vibe.
Really?
What kind?
World War
II. Like a veteran, like he was a veteran.
Right.
You probably got that right because he might have fought and he might have was killed. He probably was killed.
Oh my God!
In here.
Yeah.
In here. Feeling in here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to him and find out what his rank was. If he could get his last name, you might be able to find.
Yes.
Find out where he was in the military, what his rank was, what branch of service he was in. And he might be able to find out who he was with and what mission that he died on.
Corporal.
What?
Corporal. Air Force? Or would that be Army?
I'm getting goosebumps.
It's constant.
It could be Army as well.
Army.
Yeah.
Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it where you were
World War II.
Overseas.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Was it at the end of the war?
No, beginning.
I didn't.
Oh, no! You do this. No! I didn't ask you to come here. No. Oh.
I do that in my house by myself.
Once they know that you're there, they all come at once.
My cats think I'm nuts, but I try not to do it when my son is home. So get out.
Well, you don't want to get a headache. I wake up with a lot of headaches.
Like he's here, and they're all there too, and they're all coming in at once. And I said, "No, you're not going to come in. You know, I'm dealing with one thing, like one at a time. Do you mind? Stop it."
Yeah,
exactly.
It's wicked funny.
I have 3 haunted objects too. I have a teddy bear where I created a tulpa for when I was a child. I did it unknowingly. So the tulpa is, in case you don't know, you may not have heard of one. The tulpa is a entity that you create out of your own psychic ability. So it's its own entity, but you created it.
It begins to live in a collective consciousness and takes on a mind of its own.
So I have a teddy bear. He calls himself Happiness Bear, and he believes his job is to make everybody happy. but he's older. I got him like 2 or 3 years old, and I've had him for over 40 years. And he just has a little music box on the inside. But when people put the infrared on him, you'll see that the inside of him lights up like there's heat in the middle of him, and there shouldn't be, because he doesn't be electronic or anything like that. And he does talk audibly. He does the knocking. There's a certain pattern that he knocks. I recognize that it's him. He'll make all sorts of sounds. He's one time has made music like float around the room, like a spear of music just floating around, saying "Rockabye Baby." He's tapped on me and taps on the ceilings and lights and things, but he wants attention. And I've used him to help me cross kids over, because they see the teddy bear and they think it's great that a teddy bear can talk to them and interact with them like another child. And he helped me cross kids over.
I
And
love
he's
that.
very friendly, happy bear. And I have one that's a doll named Jenna. She showed me what happened when she died. I actually ordered a place that sells haunted objects, and I thought we'd be a great match. And she's been shipped to me, and she loves me and love her. But the first night I had her, she showed me what happened to her. That this was back in the 70s. She was seeing a boyfriend who was violent. Her brother knew about it, and the boyfriend was beating her. The brother showed up to try and save his sister, but she actually was beaten so badly she passed away en route to the hospital. And the brother actually shot the boyfriend. And he wasn't charged or anything, but he shot the boyfriend because it was a clear act of he was trying to save her life. But she did not feel like when she attached to this doll because she felt like she didn't want to leave life. She was in her early 20s when it happened. She wanted to have some way of experiencing life still, so she attached to this doll, and then she is with me now, and she loves the work that I do. And I did Reiki on hers, but then she's like this beautiful white light. I did a portrait of her as well. And then I have another doll that has a demonic attachment to it. And the demon's named Octavia. And she let me know her name. But when I first got her, I got squeezing around my throat from her. And I had horrible nightmares. It was just like she would just oppress you, but she would also give you these horrible images so fast that your brain cannot hardly process them quickly enough. So in my dreams, I said, I'm going to love. And I just brought love into the whole dream, and it froze. And she's like, she didn't know what to do. She had no power at that point. And I woke up one time with stab wounds all over me, and I slept in the same vicinity of her. I'm like, it looks like someone took knitting needles from my shoulder. And
Wow.
feeling my nothing. I woke up and I changed the clothes, and I noticed, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been stabbed all over. But she has audibly growled. She has moved things around. And one time I put a ring of salt around her, and she put a ring of dried blood around that.
Come on.
And and I did a luminol test. There's blood stains on the dress. And the only thing I found that works that keeps her from being active or harmful is to put crystals around her. Nothing else works. Crystal seems to keep that energy drained. She did give a story. Now, keep in mind, this is a demon. In fact, I did a portrait of her. She's one of the portraits on my Facebook page. How she actually appeared to me with just this skull up and this wild, crazy black hair and this glowing white eye sockets. It's how she manifested, how she appeared to me. And she gave a story that the person was from a doctor, and she told me the story that back 200 years ago, when this doll was made, when this doll was first purchased. What had happened was this grandmother who had a kind of a witchcraft background, our granddaughter had gotten sick, and the doctor was treating her with mercury, and she wasn't getting any better, so he'd give her more mercury. Well, of course, she also died. And so she, to get revenge, she attached this demon to this doll and gave it to the doctor's daughter, opened the door to the doctor's daughter. I did a luminal test. There is blood on the doll. There's blood stains on the doll. They're minute, but it's been sprinkled with blood, and that's. She said she was bound on Halloween night and with blood to this doll. So I have 3 haunted objects, and she will talk through the voice box. Happy Spirit will also talk through the voice box. Jenna, she has talked to the voice box, but she has auto well in my ear, and her voice is higher than mine. It sounds like somebody's talking through autotune. Where Octavia is a little deeper, raspy voice. And they're all very different forms of haunted objects. Actually different from each other. So at least and it's good because it's like I know now if I'm going into a situation where I think the house is haunted, then maybe the object is haunted, how to recognize haunted objects. So let me tell you some of them.
Yeah, this is my haunted doll.
Oh my gosh, I love those.
I love it. I love where the conversation's going. I know it's getting late, but
She's like 4 feet tall. Her name is Sally.
Yeah.
I rescued her at a thrift store. They threw her in the garbage.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's terrible.
So yeah, I mean, dolls definitely can take on their own personalities.
Absolutely.
I think they can. I think they are a place where a spirit can habitate. More specifically, the head and the skull, because historically, kings in the middle
sorry about that.
would keep the skulls of the victims that they would cut their heads off and collect them. Really for the pure reason that they thought they had divinatory purposes. And I think that it really goes back further than that. Maybe the Aztecs, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Are you talking about Doll Island?
Oh, we know about.
I'm going way before that. I'm going way
More
back.
a little
Way
ancient.
back. I mean, originally dolls were meant to be the habitation of spirits. They originally had a ritual purpose to be the habitation of spirits.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody knows what a voodoo doll is,
Trixie.
right? Sympathetic magic. And you know, we're talking essentially about the same things. But Josh, please bring back that doll.
Yes, we need to
and tell us about it.
talk
And
about
thank
her.
you, Angela.
Chris,
300
that spirit is gone now. I crossed him over. We're good.
Oh, thank
Awesome.
you. Ann and I are talking about him. That's why. At the moment. So.
Josh, you're on mute. Do you want to bring back the doll? There you go.
I lost audio. I can't hear you guys.
Oh, we can hear you. Okay. All right. Well, while you work on that, what do you guys think about the idea of haunted objects? And here's Angela.
Yeah, there's the
Creepy bear.
happiness bear.
I'm dipping the phone out, but I can't hear. Like I can't hear them.
We can hear you.
And there is.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Was picture
This is
froze.
Jenna. This is the one that's
When he brought the doll, and that's when the audio.
Yeah, I had to charge this too.
Yeah, the audio went away because the doll made the audio go away.
Ah.
Okay.
Aha! See,
Sit
The
on.
happiness bear.
the doll did it.
Uh-oh.
Nobody's ever seen anything like him. Nobody's ever seen. He's like one of a kind, and
Angela is now holding. I'm going to say this because this may be a podcast. People are just listening. You're holding a blue bear with red eyes, which is a bit unusual.
yeah.
And he does appear to be vintage. When would you say he was made?
In the 70s for sure, because I've had him since I was 4, so it would have been probably 78, maybe in that time frame. And he was with me on the plane, my first plane ride, and their plane almost crashed.
Oh my
We
goodness.
lost power. The plane was heading straight towards the ground. We were diving towards the ground, and you could hear the pilot trying to restart the engine. It sounded like somebody trying to restart a car. It was trying to restart the engine, but we had one engine. We're going straight down, and they were doing a countdown that we're going to go to impact. We kind of got to impact, and then the engine restarted, and then we went straight up. I mean, straight up. It'd be straight vertical climb, and the engines were just screaming. And that was terrifying. And I had him the whole time, so I definitely needed a friend during that moment. But it was horrifying. And probably came on and said, "I'm sorry, I had to do that, but if I hadn't pulled up like that, we would have ran into the hotel." And we finally made it to our destination, and everybody was hugging and kissing the pilots. And
Yeah.
he got to him. My dad got to him. He's like, "I'm not going to kiss you."
Wow.
Wow.
But he was with me the night, and it's like I really appreciate that. And when he started talking through a voice box, which I was going to use him as a control because I was going to see if Jenna could talk through a ghost box and have. I thought he wasn't haunted. I thought he had residual energy, and that was why the paranormal activity was going on. But he kept remembering. He said, "Did you remember the plane? The plane?" I'm like, "The plane? Oh, the plane almost crashed. I remember you were with me."
Wow.
But yeah, he will talk through sentences and through his voice box, and he has talked audibly before. He likes to try to wake me up.
Wait.
And I had one time a plastic tub near my bed, and he would slam it before my alarm clock. He didn't like the sound of my alarm clock, so he'd slam to wake me up. Or he'll say, "Wake up, please. Get up, please. Excuse me."
Wow.
Whatever say it. And he'll say it in a deep voice, in the middle, in a medium voice, and in a high-pitched voice. I think he can make all sorts of sounds. It's just really interesting. But then the other one, I'll show you the other one, Susan. You might find it creepy, but I'll go get her.
I'm just going to note that Greg Koss says Josh's doll has a strange energy. Put that out there.
Josh, I don't know, but I guess it's a story. She feels abandoned.
Josh, do you want to show your doll too?
Josh, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Connection.
This one, and everything, her facial expression will change sometimes. This is the one that says the demonic attached.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Very.
That is strong.
It's strange color of skin.
Yes, gray. It's like a bluish
almost
gray.
ashen.
Yes.
And what the doll? I did research on the doll, the type of doll. I went to a couple of doll experts, and they think she's a knockoff of the Kessler doll. The Kessler dolls were famous German doll series, and they think this was just a knockoff of it at the time. And Kessler's been around for 200 years. I think the last time that they made dolls was in the 1930s. So this was probably a contemporary knockoff of that.
Hey, Barbara.
Barbara,
Good evening.
Thank you for the compliments, Barbara. That's great. Thank you. True all-star lineup tonight.
Right?
You guys have been fantastic.
Yes, thank you again so much.
Blossomed into such a good show.
Yeah, at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yes, so you, Linda, since you live in California and Josh and I are on the East Coast, that was a great phone call. It was put together like last minute, and it was so funny. I'm like, we've got this. We've got this.
Yeah. And look how many people showed up.
I know.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Angela, thank you so much for being here.
This has been wonderful.
Well, thank you for having me.
Privileged to have you. And Irene, as always, thank you so much for being with us.
I think we're going to have to do this.
Glad to see you, Irene.
Yeah, glad to see
Love you.
Well, we'll get together afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anne Marie says her face moves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Give me some clues.
Angela.
Yeah, for that doll, yeah, her face changes expression. For the demonic doll, yes, it does.
Oof.
Carol says I did not like that doll. Really bad feeling from her. I could
Getting
look at
anxiety.
it.
Yeah.
Did you bind it all? Did you bind her?
Well, she is bound by the crystals. She doesn't. When I
Yeah.
put crystals on these, she can't do anything.
Now, do you use like a crystal
But you
grid?
gotta
or
bind her
how
in
do you
your
do that?
because she has to behave herself in your house. Remember
Yeah.
that it's your house,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
her. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to bind her without the crystals. With the crystals, it doesn't matter. She's got to listen to you.
Yeah, I've drawn the line with her, and I know I got to bind her. And once a year, she acts up with me. Once a year, that's it. And when she does, I'm like, you can't do that.
Is it a certain time of year at the same time every year?
Yeah, around Halloween, usually about November. The closer we get to Halloween, that's when she will act up.
Interesting.
So that's when she was bound. So that's like her favorite high power time of year is Halloween.
Excellent.
So, can you find out who she was?
As well, so this is a demon that was attached to the doll, and the grandmother attached her ritually to the doll and gave it to a doctor's daughter to take revenge for the granddaughter's death.
Oh, I can find the name for you if you want me to.
I know the name. I know the name. She told me her name.
Oh, you guys should write it down on a piece of
You gotta
paper.
She
remember,
wanted you to control her.
they can lie. They
Yeah.
can lie. You know that.
Hmm.
This is
So
great.
they can say a bunch of baloney just to make you think that that's your name. So yeah.
I see another show in our future.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Real quick, I'm going to go one by one. Linda, where can
I don't have
everybody-
haunted thing haunted in my house, so we're cool.
You're- I'll
Just
set up
so
a page if you guys want me to, and then I don't mind. I have a couple of pages, but they're mostly for writers.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
they are.
Where would you like
So-
to continue?
Yes.
Well, at the moment, this is StreamYard, so if they see me on another show that's on Facebook, they can contact me through there.
Yeah, we're on Facebook.
Linda
right
Judd.
Yeah, it's Linda Judd on Facebook.
now. Okay. All right. Fair enough. fair enough.
Angela.
Angela.
Yes, I have a Facebook page. It's Angela Bully, psychic portrait artist. This is my Facebook page. You just message me on Facebook. I also have a website on Wix. You can just type in Angela Bully, psychic portrait artist, and on Google you'll see it's something like a super scroll psychic portrait artist, something crazy long. So it's easier just to look it up on. Just type it in a search engine and see the Wix site, Wix, and click on that. And then my page will go up. Plus, if you go to my Facebook page, there's a link to it to my website there as well on my Facebook page. And you just click on it. It'll take you right to my website. But the Facebook is the best way to reach me. I keep it more up to date. And you can just message me if you want a portrait artist, portrait
Amazing.
That's excellent.
portrait painting done for you. All I need is a photograph. You can email me your photo, and then I can connect with you that way and do a portrait of the spirits around you.
And there's a lot
Thank
of the
you.
art is on there. On
Yeah,
that
it's
psychic
beautiful.
artist page. So that's fantastic.
Irene, where
Irene?
can people find you?
Where should people
friend?
find you? If they want to reach out to you for reading,
Oh,
whatever.
just message me. Just message me. That's all. It's
On
yeah.
Facebook?
There's no problem with it. I just have my profile on there. I have a couple groups, but yeah. If you need any help, just message me. Don't worry. I don't judge. I don't say anything. I just have a little consultation, and then I go about doing what I have to do. There's nothing, no frills, no nothing but it. And I have
She's
I have
good.
a privacy I have a privacy act with it. So anything that we talk is all private, and I don't tell anybody. So yeah.
No, you're like us. So it's Irene Chikora at Facebook.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Joshua Dickson, our friend. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm so sorry I lost you there. It was my
Oh, that's the gremlins. Don't worry about it. Thank you.
Your doll did that. You know that.
Yeah.
I know, I brought her out, and then all shit went to hell here. I
What the
didn't
hell
mean
is
it, man. As soon as I picked her up, everything just went to that. Just Facebook message, friend me, message me, whatever, if you have any questions. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Facebook, Joshua Dickson.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you
Excellent.
all so much. We had such a great
Thank
time.
you.
Great
Having
meeting.
me,
We love you. We love you all.
Peace out,
Love you,
everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you especially to our guests
Yes.
and everybody in our audience. You're all wonderful, and we are honored
Yes.
to be part of this. Thank you so much. Have a great
Good
week.
night.